Well, hello again. It's time for another daily bread from Center Hill. I'm David Deffenbaugh. Glad you tuned in with us for this brief session today. Isolation is a problem. We know that and we knew that before all of this started happening. Even in the field of punishment. A higher level of punishment is to put somebody in isolation, just keep them separated from everybody else. And that's because God has built us. He created us for relationships. He created us to have those interactions. I've appreciated Michael's sermons here the past couple of Sundays at Center Hill, talking about God and how God built us for community. He himself demonstrates it by his own being. But and then I think about the work that David Lawrence has been doing with our young people, very effectively working to try to get these young people here at Center Hill together, and with great effect. Because he's tapping into something that is basic to us, and that is our need for those relationships. But we've been in this situation that has tended to lead toward more isolation than we are accustomed to, and it's getting to us. And it's hard, or rather, let me say, it's easy to begin feeling that we are alone, and that does not lead to good things. I think about, for instance, the prophet Elijah, after his great victory over the prophets of Baal, and then on the heels of that comes this death threat from Jezebel. Well, Elijah gets scared and he runs. Matter of fact, he takes off and he heads toward Mount Sinai. And on the way there, the Lord appears to them, or as he is there, the Lord appears to him and says, "Elijah, what are you doing?" And Elijah tries to begin to tell the Lord what he's doing there, but he makes this statement: "Now I alone am left. It's just me, Lord. I'm the only one." That is definitely how Elijah was feeling. The Lord showed him that, Elijah, though you think that and you feel that, it's not true. But it is that negative feeling, or the negative feelings that come from this thought that I am alone, that led Elijah to even ask the Lord, just take my life. It's just not worth it to me. Well, I mention all of that to bring us to Philippians. Philippians chapter 2. There's something that Paul says here in a text that we studied for our class this past Sunday. Ran out of time, weren't able to get to this. But as Paul is encouraging these Christians in their behavior and what he would want them to do and how he would prefer or is calling them to act, he says, beginning in verse 16, "Holding fast to the word of life, so that in the day of Christ I may be proud that I did not run in vain or labor in vain, even if I am to be poured out as a drink offering upon the sacrificial offering of your faith. I am glad and rejoice with you all. Likewise, you also should be glad and rejoice with me." Paul is telling these Christians, listen, what you do or don't do, it matters to me, and it matters greatly. They may have felt like there in Philippi that nobody knew or nobody cared. And Paul said that is not the case whatsoever. What you do and how you respond matters greatly to me, so much so that it has an impact on me on the day of Christ, at the judgment. It matters, and I care. And that's something I think we need to be reminded of. That though we may feel like we're in isolation, and when we start feeling like we're in isolation, then we tend to head down the path of nobody cares about me, and what I do or don't do doesn't matter. Well, we may feel that way, just like Elijah felt, I alone am left. But the fact is, just like with Elijah, with us, that's not true. It's not true. There are those who do care. As a member of the body of Christ here at Center Hill, there are people who love and care for you deeply. And what you do or don't do does matter. It does matter. It has an impact on other people. So today, let's simply be encouraged when we when we are tempted to feel like that we're all alone, to know that that's really not the case at all. And truthfully, one of the best things that you can do when you're feeling alone and feeling isolated is for you to reach out to somebody else, because you know what? There's somebody else who's feeling the same way you are, and you're going to be able to bless the life of somebody else. You're not alone. You never have been, and you never will be.